Alright, BobalosRex here. And this is a Bob Talks. So hold up, let's make sure this is right. Alright, we're gonna be talking. My main's in the background right now with the Godfather, you know. Respect. So, what are we talking about? You already know. It's the war on add-ons and what Blizzard's doing. I am gonna pull up the Wowhead article that started the whole thing, and we're gonna talk about it. But first, I want to talk about my perspective. First off, look at my UI. This is my UI. I got details. Here, let's pull up my add-ons. I sometimes have TSM. I got a love-hate relationship with TSM. I don't really want it, honestly. I just wish I could see what items my characters have across my account, you know? That's the functionality from that. I guess there's a better add-on for that. Then we got all the things. I love all the things, you know? It's a good completionist thing. It tracks it better than achievements because it tracks everything. And this is one of the add-ons I don't think Blizzard even thinks to touch. Now DBM, though. Of course I have this to raid. You know, it even helps with world events. It helps with delves and the delve boss. It's just handy. You know, it's just a timer. Rather than you have to be like setting a timer here or something. You just have the timers, you know. I remember trying to use a timer for the mage tower on my warlock because at the 4-minute mark, if you survived, I was like, if I survive this really bad part, I'm good. So I just need to focus on the bad thing coming out right before that, you know. And it's just stuff like that, man. It's just so hard to do in game, and it's just easier done by an add-on. But we're gonna talk more about that in a second. But yes, of course, I use DBM. I use details. I sometimes have better wardrobe UI. I like it, and then I don't like it. There's parts of it that I don't like, and parts of it that I do. But again, I can't change it, and I honestly wish... This is kind of the ones I... We'll talk about wardrobe, but we're going over my add-ons, my perspective. And of course, details. I don't have all the crazy plugins, I just have details. I just want a damage meter. I need to know what I have. And then also, sometimes I have rarity. But then this brings up one of the things I'm going to talk about later. How annoying is it updating add-ons? I know there's easier ways to do it, but one of the things I think most players just, oh, new patch, gotta update the add-ons. If there ever is a future where people would choose to stop having to update some add-ons if Blizzard makes the game reasonable without. Or at least up to par, you know? So that's my perspective. That's where we're coming from. Ideally, I play no add-ons, but I've never hated add-ons. I've always preferred no add-ons, but I've never hated add-ons. I've never really cared about people having add-ons. So that's my perspective. I've never had to care to fight this battle, but I understand it because I understand where Blizzard's coming from when they're trying to pull it back, because I don't like having to feel like I have to download an add-on. Details is one I feel like I have to, but it's also good for me. DBM when I have to. And I just would love that to just not be in the game and just have the bosses be that in the game. I'm not trying to remove DBM, but I mean like the features of DBM. What I'm saying is I would be fine with not being bothered to have to update that, you know? If they made it reasonable. So that's my perspective. That's where I'm coming from. You know, like I said with the wardrobe, that's something I would choose not to update and have to worry about if they made this more expansive. I mean, sets alone, you're missing so many different sets that are sets. It's like, come on. And we know with the Pandaren remix that they can add the new sets, the sets they know, like questing sets. So it's like, come on, do it more. So I'm getting out of that. I'm not going to be there for that. So what's the game plan? What are we talking about today? This. Blizzard's war on add-ons. Okay? So, I've already talked about what add-ons I like, you know, the good add-ons, the add-ons that are not going to be touched, because Blizzard said this right off the bat. Listen, people saying this is the war on add-ons, they are not coming for your add-ons. They're coming to... the features that they are going to remove, we're going to go over, but they're not coming for your add-ons. Add-ons like wardrobe, all the things. Cosmetic collection, RP add-ons, gathering add-ons, quest helper, auction house add-ons. All of those are fine. All of those add-ons, fine. Bag add-ons, all that stuff, fine. Now, in my opinion, Blizzard should look to improve the game with features from those add-ons, and they have in the past. I hope this doesn't change that, since they're putting all their focus on this combat stuff. Now, there's this list here for the Wowhead thing, and we can go through it, but I'm gonna sum up what I got from this whole thing. They want... Here, no, we'll go through this. So, incoming heals. They're trying to remove incoming heals being trackable. For a second, I'm not a high-end raider. So, actually, I might as well recommend it now. If you care about getting more into the nitty-gritty about what add-ons and what add-on features, and honestly, Dratnos talks about even workarounds that players will use, how to work around some of these things. Honestly, watch his video because he goes more into this part of this. What I want to talk about is what are Blizzard's goals, right? They are working on in-game tools to do what these add-ons are doing, okay? Their goals are less add-ons required for the end game, for the high end, for casual play. Like, they don't want me to have to download details to get a damage meter, ideally. So we know they're working on a damage meter. And the thing is, the damage meter that they work on better freaking work, right? Like, we've had issues with details and AUG and all this stuff, and more on AUG later, because I did want to talk about something there, because some of the stuff they have going on is very interesting. Actually, yeah, you know what? Let's go through this with my perspective. So, incoming heals won't be tracked. I guess that's to stop healers from telling other healers that they're giving a heal. I'm like, why is that used a lot? I guess that's only used in raid. And then Dratnos was talking about a workaround where healers will mark people. That would be crazy. But some people don't like that. But a workaround would be smart heals, right? Maybe have a mechanic with heals in raid that if you heal a target and they had just got healed, your heal bounces. Right? There you go. Blizzard, that's how you stop it. Right? No tracking group abilities of other players' cooldowns. When I read this, so support roll just dead, right? They're already given AUG damage. So the idea, if you were going to have a support role, ideally you'd want to track this stuff. I guess they could still have a support role. But this really worried me, man. No tracking of group abilities and other players' cooldowns. And then Dratnos was talking about, I'm going to reference it because I had to watch him, because I had to look from his perspective, because I have a different perspective. He would say, like, the 25th man would be watching a POV of everyone's buffs and cooldowns, and it's like, could that happen? Why would they go about this if there's workarounds, right? Why don't they want people tracking their group's ability? Why don't they want a team leader being able to know what their group is doing? or their cooldowns, right? I don't get what's behind that. I don't get this. And I feel like this would hurt like that support idea. Wouldn't a good support player be that player that's like, I want to be the one that's micromanaging, right? So if they just wouldn't want an add-on to do something like that, because you could argue, oh, the support player will just use an add-on, they'll tell them to do this, and it's like, okay, but why can't, I don't know. This just seems weird, and then the second I was hearing there's workarounds, I'm like, oh, that's not going to be good. No tracking specialized buffs or debuffs. These should be built into the default UI. So they don't want add-ons to do this, but they're going to do it in the UI. So that's good. If Blizzard allows for us to do this with the base UI, that's great. They add in a way for smart heals, that's great. And we are going to talk about some of the stuff that I think they could do. And they do say their goals are good. So let's keep going through this. The same is true for tank swaps. If they're building an encounter that requires taunting at 4 stacks, the game should be better about giving players that information. So I was playing without DBM. First couple bosses, fine, easy. Big guy, easy. Or the 2 big guys, easy. Rick Reverb, pain in the butt. I gotta literally click on my tank, look at his debuffs, or, I mean, I'd have him in the target of my target so I could see his debuffs. But I literally have to look for that little debuff window to know to taunt. It's like, come on. That's awful. Right? They should... Either I had the horn going off, taunt, 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 or I forget and he gets a couple extra stats and he has to be like, yo, I'm getting pummeled, taunt, please. You know? I would like for the game to be more informative about that, because some fights are fine. Like, a lot of the tank mechanics that are fine for tank swaps is one where the tank gets smacked and thrown away, or you see a big slam, it's like, oh, I know... I got a taunt after that. My buddy needs some help. Right? Those are easy. You know, should all be that easy? Like, for the Rick Reverb one. Maybe my other tank should be, like, blinking. Like, or, like, the reverberations are, like, really popping on him. And I'm, like, looking at him. And I'm like, oh, shit. He needs some help. They should look into that. Alright, next up. Stuns and other crowd control diminishing returns should also be made more visible. Diminishing returns, and Draknos goes into more detail about this. Again, if you want more nitty gritty on this part, go for him. But I'm going to have some good perspective coming up. Diminishing returns on taunts, CC, and stuff should be visible, right? That's what PvP players track a lot of the time. Because now we're getting into the more PvP-based stuff. You know, PvP add-ons might still tell you what classes you're facing, but won't tell you what cooldowns have been used. So, they're fine with the telling of classes, but they don't want you tracking your opponent. I'm kind of down with that. A lot of PvPers have been complaining about the... You know, me. I don't want to get into PvP because, one, there's a million add-ons. And if I don't want to get all the add-ons, people are at huge advantages in tracking my abilities without me knowing. So in PvP, I'm more fine with this not tracking stuff. But in PvE stuff, this stuff up here does have me a little worried about some things. Even from an anti-add-on person like me, and like what it means for like what the classes can even do. Alright, now visual customization nameplates. I don't do the nameplate customizations, but when I look at like other people and stuff, and I've been noticing it, you want to be able to see nameplates better. I mean, look at that. Can I tell any of that apart? Like when I get closer, of course, I can see everybody. And then I don't really have that issue, but I feel like people like to customize their nameplates, and I don't... They need to give us an in-game ability to completely customize our nameplates then. Visual customization of nameplate style and scale will still be allowed, but conditional logic to change the way they look because of a buff or debuff probably won't be. Oh, so they're trying... See, this is where I don't know, because I don't use a lot of these high-end stuff. So, basically, if this person had a buff, I could have an add-on make their nameplate glow crazy. If the people want to use something like that with nameplates, that almost feels like an accessibility issue. Why wouldn't... the person should be glowing too, but here's the thing. Sometimes it's harder to click the target than the nameplate. So I'm a little hesitant about that. Because I would be worried about accessibility. Maybe allow someone to have certain raid mechanics. Because if they're talking about removing the use of DBM, which is crazy. Unless they're going to do almost DBM. Can someone choose to have a certain buff show up on the nameplate versus the character? Just because it's easier to see for them? I don't know. Now, Auction House, Quest Helper, Gathering, and Worldplay add-ons shouldn't be affected. Yep. Already mentioned that. Blizzard intends to improve the base UI, cooldown manager, edit mode, and audio-visual clarity of important mechanics while reducing the number of random swirls and required kicks and turns. So yeah. Okay. I'm going to link this. And like I said, if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of this, I do recommend Dratnos videos because he's a high-end game player. He's using these add-ons. I'm not. But now let's get into what I wanted to talk about. So, what do they say are the bad add-ons? Or the bad stuff. They want to get rid of combat logging. Okay? They want to get rid of the aura hooks. Okay? This was... I read the PC... I read the PC Gamer interview, and I was reading Wowhead's summary, so I'm going to give you my summary, basically, now. So, the weak aura, private aura incident was bad. They don't want that again. And if they don't want that again, they need to be listening to people, and I'm going to tell them a way they can make that not happen again. They're against tracking group abilities, incoming heals. So, like I said, they're going after DBM. They want to show off diminishing returns in PvP better because people use add-ons for it. Now, one of the things I think is bad too is they mention that they're not going to do this add-on stuff to Classic, right? These changes are unlikely to be implemented in Classic, but they say new features like the damage meter might be rolled out. So this is interesting to me. They're thinking about rolling some UI updates to Classic. That would be good. Okay, so that's my random Classic talk right there. But that's interesting. Now let's go over their goals on my list here. So, their goals are less add-ons required for high-end content. Okay, good. Again, I would love not to have to get details, maybe have a WoW version that's all fancy or something that I have put up over here that looks more like the WoW UI. I would love that. I'd be down with that. Then I wouldn't have to download details and all that stuff. Good, save me some megabytes. Then you got DBM. Okay, make the bosses telegraph, give the bosses timers. And if they're talking about trying to get rid of DBM, it's kind of crazy. And I don't think they specifically said DBM. They're talking around DBM. They're talking around, like, designing fights. They're mainly talking about weak auras. But the idea of the boss needs to have timers. Like, some people want timers. Like, people are going to make timers externally if you don't put them internally. So either add WoW DBM, right? Whatever you want to call it. Get the DBM devs to give you show you how they do the alerts or something, right? People are going to want a boss when they load them in the boss. And, you know, I guess some people don't want those timers. And that's where Dratnos was talking about. Maybe you edit what you care about, right? So, if you don't want someone loading in, say I'm a new player, right? And I'm going into normal, right? And what role am I? I'm a DPS, right? The start of the fight. You know what? It would really depend on the fight. I don't think every fight needs the timers, right? Half the timers I don't even care about. But a raid leader would care about the timers. So, I think... Yo, I just thought of a cool idea. What if they added, like, a raid leader mode? To the combat journal. So, you know... Normal players, like, say I'm a DPS, right? And I'm doing Crucible of Carnage... What is that DBM gonna tell me? The non-DBM. What alerts do I need? Ghosts. Ghosts are coming out for Monkey Side. Bomb coming out. Beam coming out. You would want... The cast of the beam shouldn't be the thing, right? So, say the T-Rex is gonna cast the beam, right? There's the cast time. But when the T-Rex is getting ready, maybe that 5-second window, that's kind of like what the timer people want. Maybe that 5-second window, the T-Rex is like, heating up. Heating up. I'm heating up. Alright? That's when you first start getting the alert. Incoming beam. Or the T-Rex is heating up. Then... when the beam's cast, Florinda the First is targeting someone. Or targeting you. And then you do what you gotta do, because you know the raid mechanic. And that kind of stuff. More warnings like that. That would be a whole lot friendly to people, right? Every fight. We want to believe that every fight, when someone asks in the raid, say you're plugging a raid, right? And you're like, yo, does everyone know this fight? How many people are actually going to say, I don't, and expect the thing, right? Some people aren't going to say that, especially in WoW, with how cutthroat it is, because of how stigmatized certain things are in WoW, which is wrong. Like, the community needs to solve that. But what if instead, right, say they didn't know the fight, but they could, you know, understand cues, right? So, they're doing the fight. And then Blizzard themselves are telling the person, hey, this is how you kind of do the fight. Guess what? The boss is doing a thing. Let the person try to put the stuff together. When you get a swirl on you, be like, this energy swirls around you. Look for friends to dissipate the energies or something like that. Or make the icons more distinct. Like meteor icons are getting better. They have a distinct swirl with like the middle thing coming out. But words, people like words. People like text visuals. People like people do like the timers, but people need some more warning for accessibility. If they're gonna start tackling the combat add-ons, they need to open up for the accessibility, and they do talk about that. Like I said, they do have some big goals. And they talk about, and in my opinion, they need to start improving the cooldown manager, the UI editor, nameplates. And they talked about doing that. Well, we need to see that. And they did talk about collaboration open to add-on devs. That's why I mentioned the DBM devs earlier or something like that. That'd be interesting if they get some of these add-on devs or talk to them. Or move to hey, we want to incorporate these add-ons. And then the add-on devs are more about tweaking the visuals and the customizations, you know? Because I would feel like that sucks if you're an add-on dev. And now you just... Well, I don't know. Not having to do this hassle for a while may be good. I don't know how they feel. Again, that you're getting my perspective from how I play. But they do talk about wanting to close the gap before turning off add-ons. Okay? And that brings us to the second part here in the Wowhead one, where they talk about clarifying that the initiative is still a work in progress and won't be coming in patch 11.1.7 or 11.2. This initiative should not be even thought about hitting until midnight, and in my opinion, until we see, right? I want to see the Blizzard details and me use it over this details, right? Blizzard, put out your damage meter. And if it works good and I no longer need details, then we can start to think about removing add-ons. That's how I feel, right? We need proof of concept, right? I haven't been using the cooldown manager, right? And I'm going to be real. This thing kind of looks funky. Like, what are we doing? Wait. Wait, it tracks my free Vivify? Oh my god. Okay, see, I mean, they are doing something good. They're doing something good. Holy crap. I didn't know. See, they're doing something. Oh, wait, but then this looks disgusting. What is going on here? Oh my god, it's all goofed up. This was cool, and then I don't know what's going on here. But see, look. Wait, why can't I move this? Why is it like... Alright, I just proved the point. The cooldown manager has its problems. What are we doing here, Blizzard? Show us you can get it to work. They said they need to work on it. They did say they need to work on it, so props to them. So, moving on to the next page. What are Blizzard's goals? Add-ons, not required but optional. Good goal. I agree with it. I like it. But again, why are they talking about removing add-ons? Yet, until we see that. They want to fix the game to make it so less people need add-ons. There you go. Alright. We're in agreement. I want to see what the 11.2 raid looks like. I think they did some good adjustments for Liberation of Undermine as far as visuals in raid. Right? A lot of the visuals in Undermine, in Liberation of Undermine, are very clear. In my opinion. I want to see in the next raid... Right? As a proof of concept, right? If we're that ready, right, Blizzard? I want to, in the next raid, be able to, oops, I didn't update my DBM tonight. It's fine. And be able to do the raid, see everything, and do everything fine. You know? Most people, normal, whatever can. I want to see high-end people be able to do that. Alright? On Mythic and all that stuff. I want to see Max, Limit Max, be like, yo, guys, no add-on Mythic clear, and it be easy for them after they've done it. Like, they do their world first, of course they're going to use all the add-ons, right? No shot, they don't. Every advantage, right? But I want to see afterwards if Blizzard's like, hey, y'all, use the base UI, do Mythic, tell us how it goes. Maybe Blizzard comes out and says that. Or maybe there's a guild, or Blizzard makes that announcement. Hey, can a guild run Mythic, no add-ons, let us know. And I want to see that. I want to see that. I want to see that. That would be a good proof of concept. Alright? Then after their goals are met, then here's the thing. They phrased it like that last mile. We may start removing stuff. No. No. Do you want people to yell and scream? Or is this yell and scream? Do we need to start yelling and screaming now? Get some proof of concepts. Right? Then talk about, again, if the game is just working fine, what is wrong with a person customizing a nameplate? What is wrong with a person tracking someone else's cooldowns? What is wrong with tracking someone's heals? If the game is working right, like I said, if the heals are bouncing, like I just said, it doesn't matter if your heal goes to someone who doesn't need it, you know? Oop, you wasted some mana, but the heal went to someone else. You know, maybe you lost a little bit, but not too much. You know, they have a lot to do, but we need to be mindful and tell them what we want, right? Because I don't know a lot of these add-ons, right? And that's why I hope they're watching a lot of these videos. And like I said, from my perspective, and I made a little graph here, right? So you have this little graph here. Here, I'll show it a little. Right? Ooh, I hit the mic. So it's the add-ons required and the difficulty of the content. it goes up, right? I had one line here. There's the DBM details level, which I'm at, right? Ahead of the curve, just fine. Then you move up to Mythic. I would have to think about getting weak auras and getting an actual cooldown management that would track my stuff better than this. And whatever that was, you know? Then I would want, you know, the high end. Yeah, you do want to know what your team is doing. This is a team game. Of course, the team would want to know what the team's doing. Especially if we are going to ever think about having a support role. That would be the crux of the support player. Would be, yo, team, I'm helping us. I'm managing our stuff. I'm helping us keep our stuff lined up. That would be the goal of the team, right? And I guess if they're trying to make that done by people versus add-ons, it really, I feel like the people at the end of the day at the top are gonna resort to the add-ons. Unless the game, I don't know. I feel like even then, so they're just gonna try to cut those people off and just make the game better overall. I just feel like if they just make the game overall better, what's wrong with the people using the add-ons, you know, kind of deal. For me personally. But let's get into my last little bit. I've been ranting all long enough. I'm glad this is a new type of video for me. It's kind of a rant, but it's a talk, a Bob talk. So, most people want no add-on hassle, right? Most people don't want it. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe at the top end, maybe they don't want the add-on. So maybe they want Blizzard to secretly stop it, but make the game just play better. You know, to stop them. But I don't know. But people don't want no add-on hassle. They want a game with the tools to succeed, right? I want to see new players start into this game be like, oh, I got this cool UI, and the UI actually, like, I don't know how a new player would begin to start knowing how to deal with this UI and edit mode and stuff. Like, how well do they tell you what all this stuff is? Right? It's kind of crazy, you know? And I do get behind the idea, right? 100%. I get behind the idea of not having add-ons be required. But you can see the mountain that new players have to climb. And yeah, you don't want them to have to download some extra stuff. That's why I'm mad about the stuff in Classic where I feel the need to download this loot add-on. You know, gotta download gear score when it's already in retail. So I do really hope they think about doing add-ons in or some stuff in Classic, but that's another video. But yeah, I want to see new players doing high-end content, no add-on, and it not be a big deal. Right? That's the goal, right? You're going to see people, I started the game, I don't use any add-ons. Okay, I want that to become, yeah, everyone does that. Everyone plays WoW with no add-on, or most people play WoW with no add-ons, and then you have add-ons basically become mods, just fun mods for the game, rather than, yo, I need details, I need DBM, you want to raid, you need weak auras, you need to track everybody's stuff, you need this, you know. As a collector, I guess I wouldn't want to have this. Imagine a big kind of collector thing that's better than this in the collection UI, but that would be basically combining achievements and collections. So, and they don't even want to tackle this one. But yeah, they want to tackle the ones that are, oh, I need this to do that, right? And I think that's great. I think that's good. But I am concerned for the people doing it and the people that use these add-ons for accessibility. Proof of concept first, Blizzard. Make a damage meter that I use that's good and great. I want to see that. Make a cooldown manager that wasn't a mess like that. I couldn't even move anything. I didn't even know how that was working. What was that? I can't wait to see the one button mode. I'm actually super excited about one button mode, and I think the combat assist is going to be great because I want to see the game more accessible, more easy to learn and get into. That's the thing. A lot of us know the game is easy, but when you're a new player, it is easy to click buttons and do whatever, like, and kill the mobs and do the stuff, but you're not learning, I feel, at some level. You know? Maybe it's because some people don't read quests, don't read that, don't read this, but it's like, it's got to be engaging. So, I'm hopeful, actually, but yeah, I'm happy that they're looking into combat assist, looking into adding, like, a damage meter, because here's the thing, I was talking about this with my stepdad. They have trading dummies, right? Training dummies, right? If you were playing the game, right? No add-ons. What is the point of a training dummy? Right? No add-ons. No details. Are you literally... Right, no. Is this what I'm doing? Is this what I'm gonna track, right? Look. Is this what I'm doing? Okay. Hold up. I gotta unlock this. Is this what I'm doing? No details. No details. Okay. Alright. And I'm writing this down and tracking my... Get the fuck out of here. Get the... Blizzard. You have training dummies in the game for an add-on that people have to download. Just saying. Just saying. They've literally got they've let add-ons do their job, and I'm glad they're gonna take accountability in a way. But 100%, as someone who wants add-ons not to be required at all, Blizzard, do not remove anything until you can show us working stuff. Alright? And that's it. That's enough talking. That's my thoughts. Again, I'm going to link the Wowhead article. You can also look at the actual PC Gamer interview. It's at the top of it right here. I looked at that. And, yeah. That's been me talking for almost 40 minutes. A Bob talk. That's what I think about add-ons. That's what I think about Blizzard's war on add-ons. And I don't see them doing much stuff till midnight. And if enough of us keep on and be like, yo, make it work first. Don't touch our add-ons till you make it work. That's the thing. Don't touch our add-ons till the UI works. Straight up. Not good enough. We don't want to say... Or... I guess good enough may cut it, but not okay. No, it's got to be good. Don't shoot for okay before you start taking out functions. Okay? Or you're going to have people mad. And you're going to deserve it. You know, they said they didn't want the weak or private or debacle. So they better stick to that, in my opinion. And see, I'm on their side. I want less add-ons. You know, if I didn't have to download DBM because we can't track boss abilities anymore, I'll be like, sweet. And then when people are getting myrtleized and we can't kill bosses, all of a sudden that's going to be awful. The raid leader's going to be stressed out because he can't time abilities. You know, or he's going to have to watch a YouTube video or something. Like I said, you can get into the main details of this and workarounds and all that. But, man, I'm for it, but they need to get it working. Alright, I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.